Real or fake Christmas trees? Which should you go for? The answer might not be as straightforward as you think, but thankfully, researchers at the University of Sheffield have done some work on this, and that's what we'll be discussing in the next few minutes. Now, it's that time of the year again where Christmas trees are popping up in living rooms, on the streets, in marketplaces, everywhere, offices. And that age-long debate around should you buy a real Christmas tree or a fake one, which is more sustainable, that debate has continued to rage in some places. And from a sustainability point of view, I intend to look at that research and help us understand the crux of the main findings of the research, and hopefully that would help guide our choice and our decision in this season. Now, starting with the artificial or the fake Christmas trees, the fact that it's easy for you to just go into your loft and pull it out every year and just set it up is a very enticing proposition. And the design of those artificial trees have improved so much now that some of them come pre-lit. They are very easy to set up. You just set them up, pull down the entire setting, and that's all. It's good to go. And because of that, the cost is also a factor where, because you've got it in your loft somewhere and you're able to store it year after year, the cost comes down significantly, and the real ones are not always that cheap. But those advantages notwithstanding, nothing, absolutely nothing, can beat the texture, the look, the scent of that real Christmas tree, let alone the activities and the culture and ceremony around the entire family going out to choose, the size, the way it looks, having that banter around what Christmas tree to pick. So there are advantages and disadvantages that would make someone choose either options depending on what their priorities are. But from a sustainability point of view, artificial Christmas trees, it's easy to just look at them and say, no, that's the less sustainable option. But what this research has done is to show us that it's actually a lot more nuanced than that. There are factors that can make the artificial Christmas tree actually more sustainable than the real Christmas trees. And it comes down to the end of life and how well or how many times you use the artificial Christmas tree. So let's look at the artificial one to start with as far as greenhouse gas emission is concerned. So your artificial Christmas tree would most likely be made from plastic. And plastic, as we all know, is a petroleum product. So that in itself is a no-no as far as sustainability is concerned. And then, because it's made from plastic, how you end up disposing it is very important. The one you buy, is it made from recyclable plastic? Is it possible to recycle it? And the truth about recycling is only 9% of the entire waste plastic we generate gets recycled. So the hope that it will be recycled eventually is very low. The other carbon cost that comes to an artificial Christmas tree is the manufacturing process and the transportation process. So researchers have sat down and calculated, and we can say now that an average 2-meter artificial Christmas tree would be around 40 kilograms of greenhouse gas emission. Now, if you look at the real Christmas tree, an average 2-meter Christmas tree is approximately, that's without the roots, and believing or expecting that it is disposed in a landfill such that it decomposes naturally, then we'll be looking at approximately 16 kilograms of greenhouse gas emission. But there are a lot of possibilities between these two extremes that I have described. So the first thing is, how long would you use your artificial Christmas tree before you dispose of it? So if you use your artificial Christmas tree for at least 5 years, then the sustainability advantage of that Christmas tree would begin to compete with your natural Christmas tree. If you are able to keep it for say 10 years, then it's possible that that actually becomes more sustainable than a real Christmas tree. Now, if you take your real Christmas tree and you decide to, so when the tree is growing, what happens is it absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, stores that in the roots, the branches, the stem, the leaves, everywhere. And so when you're done using it after the Christmas period, what do you do with it? If you decide to burn it, the CO2 emission from that burning is actually very low, because it's exactly what the plant has taken from the atmosphere over the years that you get to release through burning. But burning is not just about CO2. So there will be soot that you're going to be releasing. There is particulate, as the particulate aspect of what you're going to be releasing into the atmosphere. So when you burn the tree, from just CO2 perspective, it might look good, but burning causes more harm than just CO2. So that becomes a problem. If you decide to take it to a landfill, or you use it for maybe compost or something, now that has its own advantages and disadvantages. Advantages, because it decomposes naturally, some of the greenhouse gas that is being emitted would be absorbed into the soil, so that's an advantage. But the problem there is that natural decomposition will release methane into the atmosphere too. Now, methane is a far more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. So we're looking at about 25 times more potent than CO2. So the effect then, because of methane, becomes more significant. But with the real Christmas tree, the options actually are more than these two options that I have just considered. So something else you could do is to buy a potted Christmas tree. So that tree would most likely still be alive. And what that means is you don't bother about disposing it after the season. You could actually use it next year. You could keep it for as long as you can keep it alive. And so you can also take it a step further. You can actually use your Christmas tree and plant it in your garden, keep it alive over the years. And in that case, all you've done is win, 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 no matter what, you know. So what happens to the Christmas tree at the end of life is what actually determines whether it's a sustainable choice or not. And one key takeaway from this research is that if you currently have an artificial Christmas tree, please, please, please do not dispose of it because you think a real Christmas tree is better. Use it for as long as you can. So if you use it for 10 years, you're a winner. If you currently have a real Christmas tree that is not potted, after the festivities, think carefully about how you dispose of it. The most viable option for you now could be composting. Now, that means you'll be putting that plant to some good use instead of burning. If you have a potted one, you're onto a winner. Keep it for as long as you can because it does two jobs. Captures CO2 from the atmosphere and it stays alive, and so you don't bother about disposing it for a while. There are charity options where, in fact, there are options where you could rent a Christmas tree, a live Christmas tree, use it for the period and return it. You could go as far as planting your used Christmas tree in your garden. So every year, all you need to do is just to go trim that beautiful living plant and decorate it, and life continues to tick on. So hopefully you would see that it's not just to look at the plastic one and say, it's rubbish, or to look at the real plant and be like, that's the best. It's about other detailed things you do around these Christmas trees. So thank you for watching. Remember, every little counts. Just with your Christmas tree, you might be making a huge difference to the climate situation. So, happy holidays, and remember, very little steps can lead to huge, massive changes for our planet. So, as we celebrate in this season, have the planet at the back of your mind. Reduce wastage if you can, that's a good one. And please don't forget to share some of your Christmas tree stories in the comment section. And remember to like, share, and get the word out there. Merry Christmas.